Hello, my beautiful YouTube Soul Tribe. So I am back again to talk about the full moon for July 2026, which is happening in Vedic Capricorn in Shravana Nakshatra on July 29th. And this full moon will be, obviously the moon is opposing the sun. It will also be opposing Jupiter in Cancer, and it will be conjunct Pluto. So super profound full moon, very transformative and activating and illuminating in many ways. It's an exciting one to look forward to. Also, Mercury will have had gone direct by the time of this full moon. Mercury goes direct on July 23rd, so it would have been a week after that we have this full moon. And so by the time of this full moon, depending on whenever you're watching, by the time of this full moon, it would be a week post Mercury going direct, which means Mercury is still in its post shadow phase, which lasts for about 2 weeks after it goes direct, which means we're still a little bit foggy, a little bit like still getting recharging our batteries fully. We're about 80% full at the time of this full moon, but obviously with the moon being fully illuminated, that is a lot of energy in itself, which is really quite illuminating and activating in a more lunar, intuitive, emotional, sensitive, feminine type of way, where the more hidden shadow things that will be coming up towards this full moon, especially because it will be happening in Capricorn, which Capricorn is very tapped into all of the shadow things, and Pluto as well is very much all about that. So yeah, this is really interesting. Saturn also, which is the ruler of Capricorn, will have also have had just gone retrograde just before this full moon. Neptune is also retrograde, so Saturn and Neptune both in Pisces will be retrograde by the time of this new moon, which is very significant because they'll both also be going direct together at the same time in December. So that's a whole thing to talk about. So first of all, this full moon is conjuncting Pluto. Pluto is the ego destroyer who wants to really shatter any false beliefs about ourselves and false foundations that are related to any like attachments that we have, any toxic behaviors, any patterns that we are repeating that is tied to our ego and not connected to our higher self. And because it's conjuncting this full moon, that's going to be exposed. It's beautiful that Jupiter is also opposing this full moon, because what is going to be illuminated to us is those Jupiterian ways of living and existing and embodying life that really can help us and serve us. And especially because Jupiter is so different to Capricorn and Saturn energy, what's going to be exposed to us through this opposition is the ways in which we can either be sometimes too much in the carefree Jupiterian energy of just being la-di-da, like everything's going to be fine, and sometimes we need this Saturnian discipline and structure and boundaries and hard work, consistency, devotion to things that are important to us, and doing the hard and necessary things. But Jupiter is also going to be highlighting to us ways in which maybe we haven't been given ourselves enough grace and enough gentleness and optimism and faith and just trust in life and in a bit more surrender and trust with the divine wisdom of life and of this whole universe at large, and just like, yeah, trusting in that. So that's gonna come up with that. And with Mercury having gone direct a week before, that is really interesting because there is a lot of symbolism to do with our throat chakra and just just everything to do with our throats and our voice and communication, which is all related to Mercury, our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs, our communication, our perception, which is tied to our thoughts and our beliefs, which is tied to the things that we tell ourselves. Like, words are literally spells. Shravana is ruled, like, the symbol is the ear, and there is, I remember speaking about this in one of my older videos about Shravana, there is an image of the ear which you can see is shaped just like a baby in the womb, and it's so symbolic of how what we hear, what we hear is literally like birthed and conceived through us and becomes a part of us. Like, words are literally spells, and there is so much that we can take on through sound, through music as well. Like, the frequencies of what we're listening to is really important to pay attention to. There's a lot of high vibrational music out there and artists out there, and there's a lot of artists that are not connected to truth and love at all, and there's a lot of that in mainstream media, and it's important to be intentional with what you listen to and what you watch as well, because like what you watch on TV is also like what you're consuming. So yeah, lots of symbolism connected to throat chakra, recalibration and activation. The ear, the hearing, listening to divine guidance and also to your inner voice within, and developing that ability to discern and like really trust the inner voice and the inner guidance system. And this requires clearing and addressing shadows, attachments, patterns, toxic like addictions, and yeah, that requires reflection, and it requires you reflecting on those limiting beliefs that you may have about yourself that may be preventing you from actually trusting yourself. And like, it's interesting with this star specifically, I've noticed people with this star in their chart that I've done readings for, I've noticed this pattern where a lot of Shravana natives struggle to really honor their own intuition, and they will be easily manipulated or just misguided through the external world. And ultimately, it is our responsibility to take ownership for the actions that we do and take and what we decide to do. And responsibility is a big theme which comes up with Capricorn as well. It's like, once you take ownership for your life, like, you're no longer a victim or a perpetrator, which is what you will be if you are not completely owning your life. You will be either a victim to it or a perpetrator. So that's like just one of those stories to think about. So yeah, words are spells. Thoughts, beliefs, perception is created through our words ultimately. Like words are so powerful, and they can be so destructive as well. So yeah, this, like, we can think about how we can bring more faith, trust, truth and wisdom from that Jupiterian energy. So the Shravana nakshatra is ruled by the moon, while Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So when it comes to that energy of the moon, which is double as strong with the full moon, we are being called to really honor the divine feminine moon wisdom, which ebbs and flows. It's not always at one level of like energetically, it ebbs and flows, and to honor that and to respect that and to flow with that, to make space for all versions of yourself and to not suppress any part of yourself and whatever wants to come up at any given time. So the Saturn and Neptune retrograde is very significant. So Saturn would have just recently gone retrograde before this full moon, and Neptune is retrograde since July 3rd. So both of these planets being retrograde, both of these planets which are going to go direct at the same time together, is so symbolic of and so just like it really shows that they're both wanting us to reflect on illusions versus reality, our big ideals and visions for our life and our spirituality and our all-encompassing like love and connection to nature, to the world, all of that beautiful intuitive connection, dreams as well, grounding all of that through discipline, consistency, hard work. Boundaries, big theme, because Saturn is about boundaries, Neptune is boundaryless. So boundaries, like, it's something to think about this month, and especially with this full moon, is there anywhere in your life where boundaries have been blurred and caused you to forget what is truly important to you? And it's a powerful thing to do is to constantly reflect on what your priorities are, and are you actually prioritizing what is important to you? Because it's crazy that so many of us are not prioritizing ourselves and what truly matters to us, and we're doing other things because we are used to betraying ourselves. It's like what we're used to, it's what we think is right, but that's not right. So yeah, I'm very passionate about this, clearly, because it's something that has taken me like 30 years to actually realize that my life is for me and I need to prioritize me. It's not like I'm not living for everyone else, I'm living for myself. And we, like, especially as women, we don't get taught this, and even like a lot of men as well. Like, so many of us are so disempowered, and like Pluto, with this full moon, Pluto wants us to reclaim our power. There's all this Pranavasu energy as well, which is like returning of the light. Like, this is just so powerful. So yeah, prioritize like what is important to you. How can you bring your grand visions and ideas and dreams into form, into physical form? So it's time to rewrite parts of our story, and there are parts of our story that require some karmic clearing, which is why Saturn and Neptune are retrograde, is giving us the opportunity to rewrite parts of our story, to clear out any karmas, and to forgive ourselves, to forgive others, to take the actions necessary to do that. And yeah, so have a look at where you have obviously Capricorn in your birth chart. That is where there is going to be an illumination of the shadows of what is like coming up, to do with all of this stuff that I've mentioned, to do with our throat, to do with really embodying our truth and to expressing our truth and to owning that and doing the hard and necessary things to help us grow, while also being hopeful and optimistic and having faith and trust and surrender to life and the divine cosmic wisdom and the wisdom of the stars, of the earth, of nature, of all of that as well. So that's where Capricorn is. Then I also recommend looking at where you have Cancer in your chart, because that's where the Sun and Jupiter are being illuminating to you, where you can take more leadership in your life and where you can create more growth and good luck and expansion in that area of your life, because there is some powerful gifts that you have to share wherever you have Cancer in your chart. Then where you have Leo in your chart is where there is some karmic clearing, specifically to do with your heart and to do with matters of your heart, to do with love, self-love, creativity, to do with relationships as well. Past could be even ancestral stuff. It could be just things from your past, that cycles repeating, that want to be cleared, toxic patterns, attachments, addictions, habits, that wants to be cleared for more authentic, liberated connections and love and heart-centered ways of living wherever you have Leo. Then Mars and Uranus are both in Taurus, so where you have Taurus in your chart is also huge. This is where you're being called to take more action and to just be more free and to be more open and just to be more consistent as well, to put more focus and energy in that area, and to also just be like not stubborn with it, be like open and receptive as well to that Uranus energy, which can bring unexpected changes, and it can really just, it's a very liberating energy. It wants you to be really authentic in your expression with however way you choose to express and to go about whatever you're being called to do in that Taurus house of your chart. And obviously, if you have any planets in all of these zodiac signs, that's going to give you an even deeper indication of what's coming up. So yeah, I think that's basically all I wanted to share. This is going to be a really, really powerful full moon, and I feel like we are going through a crazy, massive healing, recalibration, and activation of many, many things right now. So yeah, I wish you all so much love, and yeah, I will see you all soon.